Welcome to my channel. This is my first video ever on YouTube. I thought very hard and long how I was going to do this video. How do I start? What should I talk about? What is the first video I should drop? Should I just go straight into money talks? Should I just talk about budgeting, about investments? After a very long deliberation with myself, I decided to tell my story first. Let me tell my story first because I want you to resonate with it. I want you to understand where I'm coming from. If you do not understand it, know who I am, it might be very difficult for us to connect here. Why not? I am going to start by telling my story. Let's dive in. My name is Chiamaka Egesimba, aka Ami. I'm a graduate, BSc Microbiology from Anambra State University. Yes, you heard me, microbiology. And I'm talking about bank. I'm making money. How? Even me, I don't understand it. But let's continue. You understand. My experience in life actually started from when I did my IT. When you're in university, in some courses, you go for IT after your third year. That's your second semester, third year. So in second semester, third year, I went for IT. During that period, I did my IT in two places. I did my IT in a food company, Dancer Foods, and also I did my IT in a hospital in Festac. During that time, in the Dancer place, we worked in the lines. I went to the lab. I saw how things were done. I tried as much as possible to get experiences in both worlds because I was looking out to diving into maybe food microbiology or health. Anyone as far as it has to do with microbiology. That was my plan after school. I wanted something big, so I was just experiencing. When we went for IT and I went to Lagos, I saw that Lagos had a lot of opportunities for people. So I knew I wanted to go back to Lagos for my NYSC. It was time for NYSC and I was just praying to God for two things. Just God, answer my prayer for these two things. I want to serve in Lagos and I want to land a big microbiology job during my service year that I will be retained. Did God answer my prayers? Let's find out. Number one, let's start with number one. The number one happened. It happened. I was posted to Lagos. And when I got to Lagos, we got to the camp and they said Lagos camp was full. That was how, see me, that apart from the East, the only place I have traveled to in Nigeria as at that time was Lagos. East and Lagos. I've never been outside of these two places. That was how I was sent to Osogbo for camping. Fortunately for me, I enjoyed it. I had fun. We were in Osogbo camp. After that, we went back to Lagos for our posting letters. And I got to the day of posting. Bang, 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 bang. On that day of posting, what happened? I got there. I was among the last people that they gave postings. That was how I collected my own paper. Opened it. Shock of my life. I was posted to a bank. What? Like, how did that happen? I was expecting to land a big microbiology job. How did I land in a bank? Was I happy? It was mixed feelings. At that time, it was not what I prayed for. So I was not happy being sent to a bank. But I was grateful because a lot of people were looking for what I had. When I told people I was posted to the bank, they were like, oh, I wish. Why are you not happy? That's good. You're going to be paid plenty money. The bank is going to be paying you and they pay so well. They will still collect from federal government. Why shouldn't you be happy? At that point, I didn't know what to expect anymore. I just had an open mind, right? We got to UBA, started registration. I was one of the first people to come on that day. And that was how they started calling us in. It got to my turn. They asked for my qualifications. I brought out my statement of results for my microbiology that I did. And bang, 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 bang! The HR person asked me, what are you doing here? You're a microbiologist in a bank. How? I didn't want to answer anything because I didn't know what to say. You remember I told you I was having mixed feelings. At that point, I was like, but in my mind, I said, whatever you decide, I beg. I told her I was sent to UBA. She now sent me to go stay with a group of people. When I got there, I realized that those were the people that were sent to the bank and they were health personnel like doctors, pharmacists, and the rest of them. I went there and I stayed there. We got discussing. I was not really happy. My mood changed because I was thinking that being amongst the first people that came, that it was going to be fast. I didn't know I was still going to wait. While we were waiting there, another guy from their HR passed, and he saw me. He was like, "Why are you frowning? Why are you so moody?" That's how we started being friends. That was the beginning of my friendship with this guy, and that was how we now connected and we started talking. We had a lot of discussions, and I was trying to explain to him what I was dealing with at that point. I didn't know if I should be happy or sad or anything. The guy just told me, why not relax? It's just for 1 year, right? Experience it. It's still part of your experience, even if you're going to go back to your health line after 1 year. Just experience it. A lot of people are looking for this opportunity, and you have it, and you're here frowning, and you're here saying you don't even know what you want. That was at that point I had an open mind. Later we were called, and long and short of the story, we were offered our employment that day, and that was how I started working in the bank. When I started working in the bank, I started with customer service. So always been customer service, attend to people, and an opportunity came out for a private secretary for one of the regional directors. This was how I became the private secretary at that point. I started working as a secretary to this regional director, and also I doubled in for customer service. For any time that he wasn't around and I wasn't doing anything, I would come down and I would be doing customer service. At this point, I was already enjoying the banking job. I was enjoying the banking job because the people accommodated me so well. My boss was so good to me that I didn't feel all those things I heard about banking stories. I heard how it was a stressful career. At that point in my life, all those things I heard were not happening. I fell in love with the job, yes. But I fell in love with it, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to be in that career after my NYSC, because in as much as I fell in love with the job, I still loved my health, my microbiology as a whole, whether health, whether food. I was still in love with my microbiology. I spent 4 years studying this course. Why would I just leave it just like that, right? For something that I've just done for maybe like 3 to 4 months now, and I was going to do for 1 year. I can't compare the two. That was how one of these days my boss called me and he said to me, "Do you want to be retained?" Ha! Do I want to be retained, really? I don't know. I just told him I don't know. I don't know if I want to be retained though. But what I know is that I am enjoying this job right now. And he was like, it is a question that I wanted to give me an answer on. After the number of days he gave me to give him an answer, he called me back and he asked me, I'm still waiting for my answer. I was so young and naive. I told him, I don't know what I want. I love my microbiology, but I'm also enjoying this job at this point. I am confused. He sat me down and he advised me. He told me something that changed my life. He said, build a two-way career for yourself, Amaka, if you can. It's going to be stressful. It's going to stretch you, but it's something doable and you will not regret it. At that point when he was speaking, I heard him. Did I listen? I listened completely. And I heard him, but I didn't understand what he meant by it was going to stress me. I was still young and naive, right? But I told him one thing. I said, yes, sir, I am going to do that. Before I continue this video, I will want to do an appreciation to Mr. Clem. I have never had the opportunity to do that because before I left UBA, he was moved to go and start a branch in Mozambique. I didn't really have time to speak with him face to face. I am doing this video to tell you, Mr. Clem Isikwe, thank you very much for your impact in my life. You were actually the first person that opened the door that drove my passion. In that short period I worked with you, you gave me the best advice that I ran with. Your advice shaped my life today. Thank you so much. Nothing I regretted about my NYSC days in UBA. It was all good. No regrets at all. I met wonderful people. I worked with wonderful people. I got advice that shaped me for the future. In fact, everything, I learned a lot working in the bank. during my NYSC, and I also made wonderful friends from my NYSC. Some of the people I still hold very dear till today. But there was something I did not enjoy about serving in Lagos as a whole. It was Lagos traffic. Thank God insecurity was not much at that point, because you know what? I would enter BRT and I would sleep off. I would sleep off to the point that they will pass my bus stop. If I'm going back from work, they will pass my bus stop and carry me to the last bus stop, which most times is Ketu. I will now come down from Ketu, look for another bus, and start coming down again to Ojota bus stop. It was not fun to me. I would always sleep in the vehicle, in the BRT, because you wake up very early, rush out for work. I was not used to that kind of lifestyle, so it was very difficult having to leave the house by 4:30, sometimes 5 o'clock, and then come back again late in the night. So the first time I served in Lagos, the places I worked were not so far from where I lived. I lived in Festac, and then I was working in Abolosho, and then in Festac also. So it was not difficult for me. But then, after I came back to Lagos the second time, I was now living in Ikeja and going to work in Marina, which was island. So it was very far. And then traffic was not also helping matters. That was how going to work, I would sleep, and they will carry me to the last bus stop. Sometimes I will get myself in CMS. I will now start coming back to Marina. Sometimes they will even pass CMS and be going in to VI before I will now come down again. It was so stressful. The good thing about it was that anytime we closed late because of work, I was doing secretary work, my boss will always drop me, because we were both living on mainland, so it was always easier for me. Most times I will even be praying, let us have work that will make us stay back, so that my boss can drop me, then his driver can now take him to his house. It was always easier for me that way. But after he left and went to Mozambique, it was so difficult. Most times it will be the BRT conductors that will come, madam, you're sleeping, you're the only one here remaining. Most times the BRT drivers or conductors will come and wake me up. It was a lifestyle that I hadn't witnessed before, so it was so difficult adapting to it. Because of that experience, yes, I wanted to be retained in the bank, but I didn't want it to be in Lagos. I wanted to go outside Lagos, any other place apart from Lagos. Every time I remember it, it kind of triggers a kind of fear in me. What if, all those sleeping in BRT, what if something had happened to me? Because of that, I wanted to leave Lagos. Yes, I want the job, I don't want it to be in Lagos. I started applying to other places. Luckily for me, through the help of God and family and friends, I was able to land another job with Zenith in Abuja. So I had to go. I chose Zenith. That was how my journey of 14 years with Zenith Bank began. I actually got employed into Zenith on June 8, 2011. And I can remember how I felt when I entered that bank for the first time. I was like, this is another journey. I have done UBA for 1 year. So working in the bank at that point was not new to me, because of course I had worked in UBA for 1 year, right? But it was new that it was another environment. Number one, it was Abuja. I had never been in Abuja before. Number two, it was a new environment. I worked with UBA. This is Zenith. In as much as they are bank, they are different people. It is a different culture. It's a different brand. Everything about it is different. So I had to start learning again. So I was very curious. I wanted to learn. I was eager to learn. Everything worked out so well, and it was moving on smooth. So while I was working in the bank, I was able to pursue also my health career. So while I was in the bank, I was able to get my master's in public health. And I also did a lot of volunteering jobs in public health. I joined a lot of health associations, I attended conferences as well. And also one thing I also did was I applied for UN volunteering jobs within Abuja, although I did not get anyone, but I tried. Those were the efforts that I put in place to make sure that my health career was active, because I didn't want it to die. And I got my PG certificate on International Accounting and Finance. So I built my career in public health. I also built my career in banking. After I put to bed in 2015, I knew that I needed an extra form of income to be able to take care of my child and give her the kind of quality life I want for her. So what did I do? I thought of opening a business. So in 2015, I launched my business, and everything I learned from the bank, I put in my business. First of all, started as a food brand, selling all food items and the rest of it, until we carved our niche. We became a farm and we started processing meats. So while I was working in the bank as an employee, I was also an employer of labor. While I was still in the bank, my business was growing. So I was growing at the same time with my business. And what happened? It got to a point where I knew I needed more, where the bank couldn't answer the questions I needed at that point anymore in my life. When I mean the bank, I mean the career. I felt I needed more. There is this strong intuition I get, or strong inclination I get, whenever it is I am supposed to take the next move. I started noticing that I wanted more. I just wanted something more. I felt that that space, banking, was not enough for me anymore. That was what I realized, because also at that point, also my business had grown to the point that it could take me even if I am not a banker anymore. So I started planning my exit from the bank. I would say doggedness, because it's not always easy in banking, especially in Nigeria. It's not easy. Some days will test you, just like business. All the skills I learned, consistency, doggedness, resilience, discipline, everything I learned, I imputed it. I carried it like this and I put it in my business. On this page, Money Talks with Emmy, we are going to be talking about money. Money, how to make money, the best way to invest, investment options that are the best. Here we are going to be talking about everything, especially when it has to deal with the current Nigerian reality, and we are also going to be talking about career transitionings, because when you talk about transitioning in career, think about me. I have done it. Which side? Is it transitioning from 9 to 5 to business, or transitioning from health to banking, or transitioning from banking to IT? Which one? So who else do you think you should be asking that question? So we are going to be talking about it, because of course I'm an all-rounder, right? Check it out now. Check it yourself.